It is 11 o'clock. Call this meeting to order, Thursday, July 18th, 2024. We're here to discuss, consider increasing the dog pound fees. And I will turn it over to the sheriff's office to tell us what's going on.
So we got a new agreement emailed over to me, and I have it, but I do think we probably need to hold off after that email from Ben. There are a few things that I would like him to look into on top of what he did email over to us. I've put together some information for you guys to look at. I didn't know what you needed from me, so this was just kind of a letter showing what each city collects currently. So previously their fees were $25 a day in Osborne, and then I think they were $20 a day and then $8, and then they're going up to the $25 a day and then $18, and then they were really, and I wasn't getting all of the information beforehand, so we've just always left our fees at the $27.50 for day one and $7.50 from there. We generally take the majority of our dogs to the Kellogg Pound. If they are full, we will then contact Osborne and request to take our dogs there. So it's probably less than, or maybe at 10%. So fiscal year 23, we picked up a total of 59 dogs. And I want to say maybe 11 to 15 of those went to Osborne. And we are paying Osborne $1,800 a year. So that's $150 a month for these dogs. And then Kellogg, we pay per dog. So we are paying them substantially less. I could not get my hands on those. Julie's systems wouldn't load, and she's now locked out of Arts. So we couldn't get our hands on those reports to see what we have paid to those. And
Peggy's locked our clerks out of pulling up reports and stuff. And so
she called BJ, but he just hasn't gotten back to her as to why she can't get those to load. But I know we're paying substantially less to Kellogg than we are Osborne. But it's a set rate. We're just paying $150 regardless if we take one dog or if we take 300 dogs.
Okay, so this is just basically a fee that we have to pay.
Yes, just
And
for using.
We're not collecting any money from anybody else.
We are, yep. So the second and third page
Okay.
I have attached to you. So the first page is so far what I've collected fiscal year of 24, and then the third page is fiscal year 23, what I collected in dog fees. I do not break those out based off of if they are Kellogg or Osborne.
Okay.
So it's super hard. I'm not the only one who collects those fees.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's dispatched at 3 o'clock in the morning. So they don't care where the ticket's from. So it's just a set fee across the board. So we don't look at if it's from Kellogg or Osborne. So it's just a public dog fee. Those fees are just the same.
Okay, so on that, when we charge these fees, are we making any money on it?
no.
No. So I think,
So it's just the dog pounds that are making money.
yes. Well, yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. I mean, and
Okay.
at the end of the day, I would think when we're looking at what Osborne's charging us, I mean, last year we made $1,436 and we pay $1,800 a year
Just to Osborne.
just to Osborne.
Right, and covering costs.
So we're not even covering costs
Yes.
to utilize Osborne's at all.
Well,
and that
well, you
doesn't-
also have to factor the only money we're accounting for is people who actually come and get their dogs.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of dogs we bring. So you figure we brought 59 last year, and how many's on here that actually paid? Collected? There's only like 20 there, probably.
And those are just the dogs that made it to the pound. Sometimes we pick up a dog and we're able to get in contact with an owner because there's a name on the tag.
Okay.
So the report was very long. You could pull up an animal call or an animal list, and that's a lot of pages of a report. So we could pick up, 250 dogs, but if they have a tag and we're able to call the owner, we're not just going to take it to the pound. Because if they don't have a pressing call to go to, there's no reason for us to take a dog to a pound if we can make contact with the owner. So sometimes that's also a lot of time, and cost, for the deputy to wait and meet up
Do we
for.
wanna charge a fee? I mean, see, right now, what my concern was we're charging a fee, but we're not really charging a fee because it's Kellogg and Osborne. If we charge a fee, then we're gonna have to put this into a public hearing. But
Right.
if we're not charging a fee, we're just getting the cost of what it costs for another city that's already done that, then we don't have to do that. But do we wanna can you think of a fee that,
I mean, I would think at least so we're covering what we need to. We're not even making enough to cover our Osborne contract at this point.
exactly?
And I'm not saying, because Kellogg's been very full lately.
Mhm.
And I do know, like last month, somebody had to pick up 4 dogs, and Kellogg didn't have room for 4 dogs. They had to take them to Osborne. So we do have to utilize them, and I don't want to lose that contract,
Mhm.
but we have to be able to cover that contract because, right?
Well, we brought about a dozen dogs to Osborne last year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we paid them $1,800
Oh, wow.
for a dozen dogs.
Regardless of how many we take them.
Yeah.
So
But it was, you figure, we didn't break it down like every year, but if we're bringing close to 15, we're paying over $100 per dog to put in there, just in Osborne.
I'm
We
thinking,
should be able to charge the client or
and we are charging, but we're just charging a set fee.
yeah.
So the problem is because we're charged a set amount with Osborne and
Mhm.
our fees are per day,
Yep.
they're not matching up.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So
because we have they're charging us a yearly fee.
Yes. So,
So if it's one dog, it's gonna cost, if there's only one dog,
It costs us $1,800 for that one dog.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
So
even harder.
Our contract is $1,800 a year and they bill us usually monthly, or quarterly, excuse me. And Kellogg is per dog, and theirs is kind of just when they get enough to bill. It just depends on how many tickets. So theirs is sporadic, but theirs is still substantially less. I do know I saw a bill, and it is still substantially less. But we're not cutting.
Yeah,
We're not
that's a
cutting
lot.
it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't even, when I first typed this up, I got this I realized that we were paying them $1,800 yesterday after I saw this email. And I do apologize. I did attempt to send this to Ben last week, but I sent it to Ben Abshire, our sergeant. So I didn't
Instead of
understand.
Ben Allen.
So I tried to get his opinion on it. But it went to my sergeant. So
What was his opinion?
he was kind of confused. I went to him and I'm like, hey, you didn't respond to that email. He's like, I didn't even know why you sent it to me. So, so I did try. I just kind of didn't get the right one on that.
So how long have we been charging $27.50?
I've been here for 7.5 years and it has been the same fee. I don't know when that has been changed. If ever. In this stack, Osborne was nice enough to send me every agreement that they had on file. So 2020s, 87s, I think it's like 88s and then 77s or something like that. Those were the agreements that they had on file. And I think that we've always been kind of a set rate with them. I don't think it's ever been just like a per dog. But they're moving forward regardless with their fee change, but that's not going to affect us at all. If dogs are picked up by them in their city limits, they pay their city regardless. It's only the dogs that we pay. That's not going to affect us.
Mhm.
So I don't think we necessarily need to change or move forward on our fees. I do think we need to maybe talk to Ben and see about figuring out a way that we could
Recoup the 1,800.
yeah, because we need to be able to utilize both towns, but we also have to be able to cover our costs. And they do too, because I get costs are going up and
Yeah.
they need to be able to keep that pound open. So I think we should maybe see if he can have his people look through it, look at the verbiage,
Mhm.
and maybe try to find a way to.
Do some kind of average over the last 5 years and then figure out.
Right. And I can go through my system. I did only pull the last 2 fiscal years. I don't know. Because of that data loss, they might have been lumped in there. My sheriff fees, they're in there, but they're just, they might have been lumped in because of the way they were re-entered.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. I think no matter what, we're gonna have some loss on it because they're dogs that nobody picks up and pays for,
Yeah.
and that's just a cost to the county.
Mhm.
But we just have to slowly increase our fees, and we haven't increased them for quite a while,
Yeah.
probably 10 years or so. So it's
I
just
agree.
time to look at increasing ours a little bit, just to kind of keep up with the times.
well, and that day one is huge. That's where the most of the cost is going. Our deputies picking them up and going. Most of ours are picked up within day one, day two. They do go into 3, 4, 5. Generally, they don't, but that day one,
But you're actually asking to lower the day one fee?
I was matching what their day. I was at first looking to match Osborne's until I looked at their contract and saw that I didn't realize that we were billed
Okay.
monthly.
I just
So
wanna make sure I understood that.
I put this letter together prior to me getting their contracts and stuff. So I just got these contracts yesterday. So I just started bringing everything to your attention. I didn't want to change this after I'd sent it over to Ben and you guys and then be like, surprise, I have a whole new letter and throw everybody off. So that's why I think we should just kind of maybe revamp everything, have Ben look it over, and maybe we do need to change day 2, but definitely I think day 1 would be where we would recoup the most of those costs, since that's generally, you'll see the $27.50 is where most of these payments are sitting, is day 1.
Okay.
And we do have some extra expense on the county in that day one that you've got an officer
Yes.
responding.
And that's why I think that's the one that we should be looking at raising the most, because day 2 through 5, they're just sitting at the pound.
Yeah.
It's probably at least an hour of an officer's
Right.
time to deal with that dog. So
Okay, so right now your recommendation would be that we let the prosecutor revamp this this
Yeah.
contract agreement. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
And that's your position on it?
yeah, there's a few things in the Osborne sent this updated contract, and they were asking us things of us to do that we weren't in the prior contract, like
They want us responsible for all the advertising.
advertising to get the dog
Picked
picked
up.
up, stuff like that. Just extra work on our part. They were putting into the contract, like trying to, I don't know.
Pet Rescue does that in the Kellogg Pound. So they
Yeah.
do. They put it on Facebook, like, hey, is this your dog? And I understand, but we don't have the people and the time to be going down taking pictures. I understand that, but
Yeah, we have enough work.
Yeah.
it's
So yeah, we're just having Ben look at some of that stuff they added in there. There's a couple other things too.
Okay.
so. I'm going to email the chief and just let him know that we understand that they are moving forward. Those fees don't affect us at all, but we don't have a signed agreement at this time, an updated signed agreement. But we haven't had an updated one. It still had Mike's signature in the previous ones anyways, so we should be able to still continue to move forward.
Yeah, I
And-
mean, we can almost sign the agreements with both of them, and because, and then we'll have to come in and do our own fees on top.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just paying, we're gonna have to pay them whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
But we don't wanna do the advertising, but,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the revisions that we wanted looked into, was just some of the verbiage in there. The fees aren't going to affect us.
Yeah.
And I thought those fees were setting our fees until I looked at what all of the contract.
It's gonna be interesting for the $1,800, how that's gonna.
Yeah.
And
It's not
apparently
huge money, but every dollar matters.
You
right
bet it
now.
does.
So,
our
yeah.
previous contract was the same.
Yeah.
So I guess we've been paying that, and this is just, it's new for me, so I'm just looking at all this, so.
Well, good. I'm glad you got it in there. Yeah, got it caught.
Every dollar
Figured it out.
counts.
Yep.
Yep,
So
appreciate it.
I'll reach out to Ben Allen and have him maybe look into that and get us all in some updates, and then I'll reach out to the chief, and then I ask for another meeting. Perfect.
Yeah, and to discuss the signing the contract and the fee change probably if we're gonna.
Do we have to have a
proceed with
hearing
that.
for that?
Yeah, if we do a fee, we'll have to have a hearing, but.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a huge increase, but even if we were going up from 2750 to 30 or something. It just every 10 years, something like that, it should be going up a little bit to cover our costs.
Yeah, and just talk to Ben about it.
Yeah.
One of the things that he's trying to do is you devise a spreadsheet. So if you use an hourly rate,
Mm-hmm.
always have a spreadsheet on hand, because when the hourly rates change, we want to be able to just plug that figure in. And
There you go. Yes, the true cost of the
Mhm.
county to
Yep. Yep.
do something.
Like you said, an hour of time to,
Yeah.
okay. Well, thank you for the work you have done.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll wait for you to come back after you've talked to the prosecutor about it.
Perfect. I will send some emails out when I get back over there.
thank you guys.
All right. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.